Hello and welcome to our holiday party. How is everybody doing today? I have got a star lineup with me today. The who's who of Amazon and e-commerce and sourcing is here with us today. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Super, super excited to have you all over here. How's everybody doing?
Doing great. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us. And what we want to do is ask you guys what your thoughts are about 2022. I mean, the last 2 years have been so transformational. So much has happened in this whole e-commerce Amazon space. And 2022, hopefully, things will stabilize a little bit, but who knows? But we want your thoughts on what you think about 2022 and also what advice you have for sellers so that they can do well in their businesses. So guys watching, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the comments at any time. Wish our guests happy holidays and enjoy the show. So Kevin, why don't you get started first?
Right, yeah. I'd just like to say thank you, everybody, for taking the time to come in today. And it's great to see you all. We haven't seen some of you for quite some time. Let's just have some fun today. And happy holidays to everybody that I don't get to see. Merry Christmas. And yeah, let's roll.
You've got the first question. Have you got it?
Yeah.
No. Well, I guess it's something to do with 2022.
He's just kidding. He has a question.
I don't.
You seriously don't?
Is it the holiday mood?
Okay. Well, let's start with Yoni. So, Yoni, what do you think are going to be some of the main trends in 2022 in terms of e-commerce? I mean, you are just out there talking to so many people all the time. And, with Gatita, you've got a lot of insight into what's happening in the back end of Amazon. And you've got some exciting services too. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But why don't you quickly introduce yourself and then tell us what your thoughts are about 2022?
You got it. So, hi everybody. So glad to be here. It's an honor and a privilege. So, a little bit about ourselves. So, it's going to give the context so I can bring out the answer. Gatita, we're a technology company, and our claim to fame is our ability to help Amazon FBA sellers get the maximum FBA reimbursements that they're eligible to receive. So, typically, what happens is when an Amazon seller connects with Gatita, we're going to go back on the data, 18 months, and we're going to find any discrepancies, any of the inventory that gets lost, damaged, destroyed, disappeared, disposed, or get overcharged with fees. Our technology catches it, but then our team opens cases with Amazon, manages all the back and forth until there's a resolution, and also potentially reimbursements. It's free to join Gatita. It's free to stay with Gatita. We only charge a fee based on recovery. So that's pretty much our entire focus. And today we're the largest organization in the world dedicated just for this niche called Amazon FBA auditing and reimbursements. And we audit billions of dollars worth of transactions every day. So that's a little bit about the purpose, mission, and scope of what we do. But looking into 2022, I can see that, the challenges are definitely there. They're very, very recognizable. If I can use some history, for the past year, we can see that on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, so the sales generated on e-commerce in general has actually, for the first time in history, dropped. The drop is not that significant, it's 1%, but the fact that it dropped and did not increase from the past year, that is a signal. It's a signal that e-commerce is being challenged. Obviously, the challenges also apply to brick and mortar, and mainly we can all, openly talk about it. This is the sourcing, and that's why there's such importance for India sourcing network. It's a great asset really to have, because sourcing has become a really big, tremendous challenge for e-commerce, for retailers. So there's the struggles, there's challenges, and I think it's going to continue well into 2022, at least. 2, 3, 4 quarters, it can safely say that it's going to take another year for things to kind of hopefully wind down, because the thing is that it's like a pendulum. When the pandemic hit the pendulum, it creates all this force that all of a sudden shakes another place in the market, in terms of the structure of things, and then it hits back, and then another thing happens. So earlier on in the pandemic, we had the toilet papers, the paper towels that all of a sudden inflated, and that caused warehouses to shut down, and all of a sudden you got it's a bit crazy. Just a little bit more scope here. In Germany, they had a bad year with generating power and energy, because they generate a lot of energy from wind power. So it's a really bad year, not a lot of wind. they didn't have enough power and energy, right? So they bought a lot of coal. Because they bought so much coal, and China didn't have enough coal to run the factories. Because of that, the factories, even though e-commerce is booming, they cannot even produce anything because they don't have enough energy, enough coal. But the price of coal went up. That creates energy shortages all over. So the whole thing, the pendulum keeps striking in, striking out. And the bottom line is sourcing is very, very hard. In the factories, it's very hard. Transportation, especially at sea, with the containers, is also very hard. And that's why sellers, experience, and consumers are experiencing all the inflation. And inflation is like a wild beast. If it's out of the cage, it's not so easy to contain it, catch it, and put it back where it was, because you don't know where it's going to pop up next. That's kind of the thing. We had lumber inflation. I mean, right now it's kind of all over the place, but it started with a little bit of signals back in the day, and now the pendulum keeps maybe even getting stronger at the moment, right? It's creating more and more havoc. So yeah, sourcing, global supply, inflation, that's a deep concern. Now, what does this all mean for retailers that have been into the game for many years? Walmart, places like that, they've seen this. In the 80s we had inflation, in other years, so they saw this. Amazon sellers and e-commerce, it's all pretty new. So what does this all mean? How do you survive this, right? This is a challenge that will make the current Amazon sellers and the e-commerce sellers more professional moving forward, because we are very comfortable for past 20, maybe 30 years. Inflation wasn't a big thing, but now it's back, and it's always a thing. But we're very privileged not to have it for a long time. So sellers will have to have the right financial structures, enough cash flow to withstand all this inflation of costs, which basically, because the prices are going up, they're gonna have to be more competitive. They're gonna have to increase their prices in the market. But if the prices, but the market is competitive, and somebody can source and actually keep their costs down and sell lower than you, it's a very tough balance, right? It's a very tough act to follow. So that you're gonna have to follow it though to survive, and that will force you to become more professional. So looking deep into your costs, all the cost structure, where you can trim, where you can manage. If you have enough liquidity, if you can buy more inventory and you have bigger shipments instead of dripping it in real time like many used to do. You buy inventory for the next 6 months or even for a year until the things kind of wind down, but you have enough supply so you don't lose rank. You keep on the whole flow going. So that's kind of a little bit of a taste of what I hear from all over the place. Going to events and webinars from all the sellers. There's more to it, but I don't want to over kidnap the time here. I think you're muted, Megla.
Yeah. That's amazing. I just hope this pendulum slows down. It's high time the pendulum slowed down.
Yeah.
Cool. So
awesome.
Annie, let's go to you next. First of all, introduce yourself and then tell us what your thoughts are.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me today. I'm an Amazon seller for just under 4 years. I'm selling predominantly in the USA, and I also sold a bit in Canada. But this year, I have to sort of stop selling because of the restock limit, and selling in Australia as well. But it's just a very tiny market in comparison to US. But there's still a lot of opportunity on Amazon. So I intend to double down and expand the business next year to go back to Canada and expand with more SKUs in Australia. And I totally concur with Yoni, what he said. I think he's spot on with all what he said. And that's exactly how, as an Amazon seller, and that's how the challenges I felt. I think, sourcing is the biggest challenge that we have. And I think this will continue for sure. And therefore, I found that diversifying our sourcing is so important, especially for next year, not just in one country. Where I was sourcing from China, then I sourced from India, and I also sourced from Vietnam. And now even Vietnam, I've found a challenge. So I'm also sourcing from Mexico now. So it's closer. Just started, so hopefully it works out well. And so I think I see those are the challenges. And costings is just keep rising. And not every niche we could increase the price. Like one of my established brand, the price is just the sellers just keep pushing the price down, and as a result, I just felt the squeeze. And I think this challenge might continue next year with certain niches where we just can't raise the price. We could raise the price, but then we might lose out in sales, or maybe new sellers are coming in. More and more sellers are coming into the space, and then selling it cheap and also pushing the price down. So I think we have to be more selective with what we're going to sell, and sell certain products with a higher price point or can absorb the extra costs. And what I could see with Amazon space for next year, branding is getting more important than ever. Amazon is pushing into towards branding as well, with all the new features they are rolling out, like sponsored brand video has been around for a while, and then Amazon posts, and also sponsored display and so on. And personally, for my brand, I found there's a lot of benefits. Building a brand that relates to the audience. Gone are the days where we can just release any products and then expect different products to sell. Imagine a customer land on a storefront and then we have unrelated products. We just can't speak to the audience. So yes, branding, and I think Amazon is pushing towards that, the branding, micro brands, and I think we will do very well in that regard for next year, especially. And sourcing, branding, and then costings, and these are the changes that I could see that will happen next year, and this what we could do, and that just as I've just mentioned earlier.
Right.
Nice touch.
So we got a question from Christine. Sourcing from China, India, and Mexico for the same product or a variety of products?
I have a variety of products. For example, one of my textile-based product, I was sourcing from China. Then I also sourced from India. And when COVID hits China, I could source from India. Then when COVID hits India, I had to go back to China. So like currently, I'm sourcing from both countries, making the same product. I found that it's helpful because sometimes India could take a little bit longer time for various reasons, maybe because some materials have to come from China. So certain products maybe become it's easily to source from China, but then they might have their other challenges like power outage and so on. And the beauty of sourcing from India is because shipping is a lot quicker from Mumbai to New York, where else with China, then I have issue if I land it in LA with a longer with a port congestion. So I do see same product made in different countries. And I have another product that I sourced from Vietnam, and the supplier just couldn't make it because of COVID. So it takes them 4 months, and I just couldn't order it. It's just 4 months. So for that product right now, I'm sourcing from China, making samples made in China. I'm also sourcing in Mexico. So I'm basically have the same product, but have suppliers in different countries and see which one works out. And I might just source from both countries. And because COVID is still so tricky at the moment, and we don't know which country will hit, and so it is good to have sources from different countries, not just different suppliers.
Exactly.
And if I can interfere here, I think that's going to be the case for many other sellers. Have a global network of suppliers. So if the pendulum ever hits them in all these places, they have enough variety and ability and the resources to keep the streamline of products coming in. So what you're experiencing, I think, is also going to predict the future where the global supply will be more global as opposed to just concentrated maybe just in China, for example.
Absolutely, yeah. I found that it was very helpful in my case.
That's amazing. Good job.
Have it diversified sourcing. That's for sure.
So another question from Christine: how do you keep the quality and design exactly the same to reduce returns and expectations if you're getting the same product from China and India?
We have sent them tech pack, and we are very specific with our materials. We lay it out very detailed in our purchase order, and then we get it inspected. And like with textile-based product, the beauty is we can put a label. So with certain label, I know if there are returns, who is a supplier. I've got a wooden product as well. That would be a bit more tricky. But I could see that for the same product now that is made in China, it still looks a little bit different. It still overall looks the same, but I could tell it's not the same. I think it's important to get QC inline inspection, and then the PSI pre-shipment inspection. I guess we just have to be more diligent and then check out the manufacturer as well. But yes, I managed to make the same item and with different suppliers, just have a lot of inspections to make sure they keep in line, and with very detailed purchase order. And so far it's been doing good.
Yeah. Annie, do you get feedback from clients, that are previously bought, say, that, for instance, they bought from you previously and it's been a China product, and then they buy from you again and then it's an Indian product? You don't get any feedback in any way?
No, I think
Good.
they can't really differentiate. And as a matter of fact, I found that with the space is we have to always keep up to date because my listing is just under 4 years old now. So along the way, I've made some updates and just minor updates to keep the costings down. Looking into the detail, what can I change to offer a similar functionality, but maybe reduce the cost a little bit because of high shipping costs, but I could reduce the cost of the item. So the design a little bit changed, but customers received it and the image doesn't show exactly that, but they're happy with that, no complaints.
Did you reduce the weight and dimensions by any chance of the actual product?
Sorry, the dimension?
The weight and dimensions of the product, did you actually reduce it to save on costs and shipping costs, for example?
Not for the textile products, but just the features. Like I remove that feature, I add that feature, and then see how the overall cost. But having said that, still the costs are still a lot higher than previously. So basically, I remove some costs and add something else to contain it rather than paying more. I'm paying around the same as what I paid previously by making some changes.
That is a great advice, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Killer. Well, CJ, moving on to you, give a bit of an intro and tell us what you think about 2022.
All right, I'll be really quick. I work with the greatest team in the world, bar none, helping sellers get their accounts and listings reinstated with plans of action. And we are also now the world's best at protecting your brands. So keeping you in business and then protecting your brands. Nobody is better than my team in New York. Absolutely awesome. I think there are going to be tremendous successes in 2022 for brand owners, right? And forget about this private label moniker. That's out. That's so like 2020. Okay. Everyone who has a brand, you are a brand. Your private label is a brand. Get rid of that name. And I think the two huge ways you're going to really just crush it in 2022 is to either sell your brand at the most inflated market ever. This is the tulip. This is the .com. This is the real estate mortgage bubble, all wrapped into one on Amazon. We heard of deals now going at like 6 to 6.5 times your annual net profit, which is 3 times more than it ever was before. So you can sell your brand in 2022 and make a boatload of money. And if you decide to keep your brand, I also think you're going to crush it, because what you're seeing in the marketplace, you're seeing, one, there's a huge consolidation of sellers right now. I heard Yoni talk about that there was a 1% drop, in sales, and I think one of the causes is sort of the consolidation, right? You got like, what was it, 55 or 60,000 different sellers in China just gone,
Wiped out,
created, right? Out of the game. You have about 116 aggregators now who are gobbling up brands, causing more consolidation. And then you have all of you folks who are keeping your brands, right, to fight it out in a consolidated marketplace where one of the keys is going to be sourcing. So I think whether you sell your brand or whether you keep your brand, you're going to kill it in 2022. You sell it, you're sticking money in the bank, and in 2 or 3 years when your non-compete is over, you're getting back in the game. And if you keep your brand, you're going to crush it, because the whole business is consolidating, and it's going to be an even more level playing field, and sourcing is going to be the key. So no matter how you slice it, I think 2022 is going to be an absolutely tremendous year.
Fantastic. Okay, let's move on to Samiksha. Samiksha, introduction, and then tell us what you think. And of course, shipping is just so important now. Everybody's concerned about shipping. So.
Yeah. So hello, everyone. My name is Samiksha. I own the company CR Global, and we are primarily into logistics, end-to-end, door-to-door movements of goods from India to anywhere in the world. It's holiday time. I wish I came with better news, but I don't. Things are not looking like they're getting any better as far as logistics or supply chain is concerned. We did see a little bit of uplift in the mood where freight rates started going down a little bit last month, but this month, again, back to the same situation. Containers are not available. The first available booking I think anybody is getting right now is for 2nd January. That's how chock-a-block it is. Everything's blocked. The ships are just coming to clear the previous backlog. They're not taking any new bookings. So, and I'm talking right now only out of India. So as far as sea freight is concerned, whatever little reduction we had seen last month in the prices, I think we're going back to the same level this month. It's not increasing from that level yet, but it's not going down either. Um, Similarly, with air freight, we had seen a little bit of reduction, but now with the new strain coming in, India has again put a ban on international flights. So the flights that had gotten added in for the passengers to start traveling have again been stalled. So that's again led to only freighter planes being operated and some very few special flights. So with that, again, the payload decreases for cargo, and this season generally also air freight is on the higher side because everybody is trying to rush in and replenish their holiday orders. So air freight is at an all-time high, higher than what we had seen during the first COVID wave also. And in US also we see a complete breakdown of supply chain in general. So ports are extremely congested this time. Even New York ships are not getting the windows to dock for almost 10 days. They're waiting in queue. So again, not as bad as Los Angeles, but it is getting there. We've not seen New York like that for a while, but they've been able to stay afloat. But I think New York is getting very congested also now. This last entire month, starting mid-November, the congestion has been piling up. With the rail system as well for the on carriages, if you have LCL load that you're carrying from New York or LA to one of the inland ports, that's taking very long as well. So the waiting time in Amazon has been extremely high. There is a huge number of orders going in. So in general, overall, things are very, very slow. Transit times are extremely high, even though the sailing time could be still 22 days. It's taking at least 15, 20 days for goods to just become available in New York. If it's going further on carriage, it's not connecting on the rail till about 2 weeks. So uh, we are hoping post the Q4 shipping, at least this congestion will reduce a little bit and the transit time should come back to normal. But as of now, for the next 1 month at least, everybody has to add up 20 to 25 days buffer into their shipping time if you're opting for sea shipping. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not getting any better, not just from India, worldwide. And they're just very crazy newer kind of problems coming in. In the beginning of December, there was an issue with China. Their tracking system could not locate their ships. So there was this whole issue about disappearing ships, which has again added to the whole problem of, yeah, because there was this whole breakdown of their satellite that was tracking ships. And so nobody knew where the vessel is. So that again adds up to which one to expect, which one is berthing, which is coming back to pick up containers. So like I said, the problems are so strange and so new for the entire industry to grapple with, that by the time you take care and get used to handling a certain way, something new just comes up. So it's going to take a while. It's definitely going to be like this. A lot of people ask me this question, that should we wait until first week of January to ship? Are things going to get better? And I'm telling everybody, no, it's not going to get better in first week of January. This is at least going to take 6 months more at the least. So holding on to shipping is not going to help anybody. These prices are not changing. This congestion is not easing out this early on. It'll take some time. So yeah.
Right. Lots of challenges still ahead.
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
Yoni has said that for an index to track and monitor the costs of shipping from Asia to the USA, you can visit gatita.com/FBAX. Well, that is very useful, Yoni. In fact, somebody in our group recently was asking about this. I'm going to post this in the group as well. Thank you for that.
You got
Question?
you can,
Yeah, go ahead,
yeah.
Yoni.
I can see that what according to what she was saying, she was right, because I see the prices started to decrease a little bit, but in the past week the prices increased by average from 17,000 to 20,000 per container. So she's on the spot. She's exactly right. It's not cooling off.
Yeah. How is it into Australia ports? Also congested or better?
They're not as bad as US. It is. it's taking about 4 or 5 days extra, which is usual around this time of the year, but it's nothing close to what the US ports are experiencing. So it's better than that.
Okay. Josh, let's move on to you now. It's a bit of an intro and what you think about 2022.
All right. A bit of an intro for myself. So I'm Josh with Veritas Sourcing. And so we basically are in the sourcing game, sourcing agency. So I'm not a Facebook seller, an Amazon seller. I've sold things on Facebook, my neighbors. But so I'm just much more, I'm a service provider. So I'm helping people get what they need and get it done and providing that value added service. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. And obviously, India is my base and where I've just been the longest and been sourcing out of the most. But now I'm also able to source from some other countries with my contacts there, like Vietnam, Nepal, Thailand, Turkey, Morocco, a few other places. And so as far as the key trends I see, these are just more from kind of my limited experience with the people I've been dealing with. But I've seen a lot of more of the larger companies, they've seen the backlog with the supply. And so they've been really switching or moving their planning up. Because sometimes you'll have people companies they're planning for, fall of 2022, they're planning and ordering in 2021 and things like that. And so I've seen just that timeline move up a lot where they're sending inquiries and saying, hey, this is for our quarter four Christmas of 2022, but they're reaching out a lot sooner than before due to seeing the backlog of the shipping and them just planning much more on eating a lot of warehousing costs versus having to wait and guesstimate how long the shipping is going to take or how much the shipping prices are going to take. So it's one trend I've seen. I've seen, especially with the supply chain going crazy and the ships, I've seen a lot of newer sellers or Amazon sellers be much more risk averse. Like they're much more saying, oh, it could take a long time to do things. So I don't want to order now, but I want to find out what it will look like. And I want to get all these prices here so that when things calm down, I can order. And they don't necessarily want to risk that right now because they've seen just how crazy things have been. Another key trend I've seen is I've had people interested much more in diversifying, where they already have a source, they already have a factory, and they're looking for an option 2 or 3 or 4, or they're looking for a country option number 2. And so as Annie was saying, just having that option from other countries, I've seen a lot more of that in the past 3 months specifically. As far as myself and things I'm changing on the business side, I'm expanding some of the categories and product offerings. And so I'm working on getting some different suppliers in these different areas and products that I don't currently have, and seeing some of those. So like for example, this is not an Amazon product at all, but like seaweed extract is something that I've been working on for the past few weeks, and just something that is growing quite a bit, but I've never worked in it. And so I'm trying to get different product categories and offerings. And been working a little more on the eco-friendly side, trying to get into those categories or offer better offerings for those. I've been expanding as far as contacts in other countries. And so my goal by the end of quarter 1 is to be able to have 2 to 3 main suppliers out of Malaysia and Indonesia as well. A few other things I'm changing in my business is I'm expanding my team. And so I'm looking at getting a few more full-time people on, and quarter 1, quarter 2, probably quarter 2, because quarter 1 is rapidly approaching, and with the backlog of orders and things like that, everything that was potentially going to be ending by the end of 2021 is now ending in 2022 due to just the delays and shipping. A few other things. I'm also expanding more on the ground support in India, and so I'm working on basically having my agents in each of the major cities that I'll be able to contract out with, so that especially I leave for the US in about 4 days. So especially as I'm traveling back and forth in the US, then there's no interruption in services and things like that, or communication chain. So that's a few things expanding on for myself, my own company. And advice for 2022. Ooh.
We could do that later, Josh.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Come back to that at the end. But this is absolutely amazing. One of the things you didn't mention, Josh, was you're also helping these large companies like auto parts brands and all of these large industrial kind of products. You're helping them move from China or other countries to India. Do you want to touch upon a little bit about that and what you're seeing on the ground in terms of these big turnkey projects, for example?
Yeah, definitely. And so that's kind of with my other company, the Veritas ATQ, very similar, but that's my business partner, and that's strictly on the industrial products. So that's engineered metals and plastic products. So that's more the forging, castings, precision machining, fabrication, and so all of that. Whereas Veritas Sourcing is much more, similar products that Amazon people would be looking for. That is all for the larger OEMs. So that's strictly helping them relocate from China into India and India alone. And so that's kind of our specialty, because we've seen India's manufacturing capabilities over the past 6 years have just grown exponentially. I read yesterday, actually, in I think it was April of 2021. I got to go look at that. But in a small short of time, Pune, like one city in India, it's the hub for engineered products. They did 3.5 billion worth of products within, I can't remember if it was 4 months or a year, but I mean, that's a massive amount of products from one specific city. And so on that side, we've seen a lot of companies who have been just sourcing from China, or especially China and Vietnam, and they're just saying, hey, we need to get out. We're getting hit with these tariffs. China shipping is 6 times the normal cost. And so now we've had a lot of larger companies who are just like, we're just going to send you everything to get quotes for, because we can't keep doing this from China. And so they're looking for solutions quick. And so that's been a key trend, is that we can't really keep up with the amount of companies that are trying to move into India. And we're trying to see how we can bring those into our portfolio and bring those into even the lead generation, because lots of them are already in the process and they're already searching out those factories. And so we're seeing how we can get in that process now on the front end or in the middle, because it's already started.
Hey, Megan, may I jump in?
Yeah, definitely.
So I love what you're talking about. What I'm hearing from you is there's some things that nobody can control, right? No one can magically make more containers available, but the things that you can take in control, things that you can do, are things like brand development, finding alternative sources. You're talking about expanding your offerings, different categories. I mean, you're going into I don't even know what the heck seaweed oil is, right? But that's something you can totally take control of your business and use this as an opportunity to grow. And yeah, it sucks. You got to add another 20 plus days to your shipments coming in, but that just opens the opportunity to increase your branding, work on different items to sell, and expand your business. I'm a big Grant Cardone fan. Some people hate him, some people don't. And when things, are going down, when things are contracting, that's when you got to double down. So when things settle down, you are bigger in this space. So those are things that you guys can control. That's how you're going to thrive in 2022. Take control.
Survival of the fittest. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. That's great advice. Well, let me just play. Yeah, go ahead, Annie.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in from what CJ and Josh mentioned. This is just from my personal experience, and I totally agree with them about diversifying the brand, because when in 2019, our established brand was hit by COVID, and also 2020. So then we lost over 50% of business. So as a result, I created a new brand. And this year, I found that it actually works better than, it sells better than our current brand. So I'm so glad that, I say, now we have a challenge. What can we do and improve? And so as a result, with this new brand now, I'm into different categories. So if one category is down, I still have this other category where, it's not selling in Q4, but this new category is selling better than expected until I ran out of stocks. I kept raising prices, but it just keeps selling. And the other key trend, like Josh mentioned, about ordering ahead, and that is a challenge I'm facing. Because I have to plan so far ahead and order at least 6 months in inventory, and with various SKUs, and it's just tie up a lot of cash. And as a result, I have started looking into funding. And luckily, there are a lot of sources now. So I'm looking at the options and looking at my cash flow. So I think these are the things that we really have to consider and plan ahead, whether we have the funds, and if this SKU is not working, maybe I have to drop it. Maybe I should spend money on this SKU instead. And how much money I need. If I don't have the money, what can I do? So I'm planning right now and talking to different sources, make sure that I have stocks to stay in stocks rather than just sit back and wait till I run out of stock and then think about the problem. So we have to think ahead and plan so far ahead with the challenges that we're facing right now. But there's still a lot of opportunity for those of us who are, proactive and, and then like CJ say, once things settle down, we'll definitely be ahead.
Yeah, there's still so much opportunity. I mean, e-commerce is still growing at a fast pace, so definitely a lot of opportunity. So I'm just going to play a video that Ben has sent to us, and let's just see what he has to say.
Co-founder of Ecom Brokers and the resident exits expert for the India Sourcing Mastermind. And I'm coming to you from the Highlands of Scotland. So, what's going to happen in 2022 in terms of exits in e-commerce? Well, more and more money is pouring into the space. It feels like more aggregators are continuing to be formed, but quite a lot is going to change. A lot of aggregators are going to disappear, either because they're not going to survive or because they're going to get acquired by larger aggregators. And aggregators are starting to move on and get a bit smarter. They are beginning to look at businesses which are not purely on Amazon. They're taking businesses they've already bought and moving them onto other platforms, whether that's Walmart, Allegra, Bol, moving on to more international marketplaces, and they're beginning to look at acquiring brands which are not purely just selling on their own website and Amazon in the US, but they're looking at brands which are in the Middle East, Australia, India, Latin America, Europe. If they've acquired the brand in the US, they're now moving it to Europe and vice versa. So quite a lot of exciting things happening. What does this mean for you? Well, there's a lot of money in the space, which means it's a great time to start thinking about selling. That doesn't mean you have to sell. It doesn't mean you have to be worried, oh, all the money's in this space, I need to sell now, I have to get out now. That's not true. If you've built a great brand, a suite of products which solves problems for a particular group of people, you don't have to rush. You can wait until the time is right for you and your business. So don't listen to anyone that tells you otherwise. No matter what's going on, no matter if there's any kind of a bubble, if you've built a sellable brand, it will still be sellable whenever the time is right for you. However, there's a lot of money in the space, and it's a good time to be thinking about it and to understand what makes your business sellable and valuable and how you can take it to an exit. And of course, I'm available in the mastermind to talk about that, so I encourage you to come to the sessions. What I would say is that it's an exciting time. There's a lot of noise about exits, and so the important thing is that you get informed and you take the steps to ensure that you've built a brand and not just a mishmash of stuff, not just a bunch of commodity Me Too products, and that you're focusing on building a brand on a variety of sales channels with a wide moat around it, and in particular supply chain, right? So much has happened in supply chain recently, and the aggregators really want to make sure that the supply chain around the brands they acquire is solid, and that means looking further afield to places like China, so of course India. So a few things to think about there. Come join the sessions. I'm really excited to work with you all on teaching you how you can make your business exit ready, and let's see what 2022 brings to us.
I think I heard his baby in the background. You guys hear that?
Yeah, I think so too. But I want to be there. I want to be in the Highlands of
You look
Scotland.
cold,
That's where
man. I don't want to
be.
be anywhere near that place.
He had a holiday sweater. I noticed
But
that
that looks
also.
beautiful. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's cold
does,
as
yeah,
hell up
but
there.
Too cold.
Amazing. But I mean, similar theme there too, right? I mean, branding, diversification, be prepared to sell your brand, but you don't have to. I really like how he, doesn't sort of, there's no pressure from him that, okay, now's the time you have to sell it. And, there's a bubble that's going to kind of burst at any time. And the thing I like about Ben is that he's not really an aggregator himself, but he's like a broker. So he helps optimize people's businesses and, helps you kind of maximize the value that you can get out of the business. So really super
I
guy.
believe he sold to an aggregator, meaning he experienced the whole journey of launching a brand, succeeding with the brand, and then selling a brand and making a successful exit. And he's taking from all that experience and helping other sellers, transition as well if they're interested in selling.
Exactly.
Meg,
He's done it himself.
There's a fantastic book on how to set up any business for selling. It's called The Art of Selling Your Business. The Art of Selling Your Business by a guy named John Warrillow. It's a blue and white covered book. And it talks about like your branding, the story of the brand, the story of why you're exiting, a lot of ways of adding value. The Art of Selling Your Business. Just terrific book.
Okay, there it is. The Art of Selling Your Business, recommended by CJ. Go check it out, guys. Cool. Mark, did you have questions? Oh, Mark, I think it's connectivity issues.
Well, I had some questions, but some people have already answered them. I think Josh and Annie have told us that. Can't you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead. You're good now. You're good. No?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Okay, good. Yeah. No, well, I think Annie and Josh have already answered the question of what they're doing in 2022 with their businesses. But Yoni, I'd like to talk to you, and I love it. So what else have you got planned? And do you want to tell people a little bit about your new little tool I used, which is fantastic?
Oh, she okay. I think it was referred to me. I heard of Fluffy. I believe she's reaching out to me.
Let
right?
me let me just rephrase that. And so basically, we're asking about what plans Getida has in 2022.
Oh, sorry.
And there's a new tool. There's a new tool that you've just launched, and Mark has used it. And she sent me a message and said, like, you have to use this. I haven't read about it as yet.
Nice,
but tell us what Getida has planned for sellers in 2022.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna be spilling the beans. I didn't plan to talk about the new tool at all because it's so fresh and new, and we're just gearing it up.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, you did. This is the first public I'm admitting in public that we have this new tool. We call it simply the Doc Master. If you're a private label seller, and most of you guys are, it's a tool that helps you automate and create packing slips professionally. So for every shipment. So because today when you reconcile a shipment, let's say you shipped 1,000 units, Amazon only received 990 and 10 units are missing. You're not going to be able to open a case to reconcile the shipment unless you have the documentation needed. So if you're a brand owner or a private label seller, you can generate a packing slip, and that's fine. You submit it with the case, and Amazon reconciles it. And of course, if they owe you money, they're going to pay it to you. So sellers all this time needed to kind of, for each shipment, kind of take a look in each one and create the packing slip, and it's going to be very, very tedious. So we created a tool. We just opt into the tool, and then all the shipments that you see, you can be able to log into them within a click of a button. Create a professional packing slip, which can be submitted, and you can easily reconcile a shipment, and that's money in the bag. It takes a lot of the pain and a lot of time, a lot of the pain away, and it saves a tremendous amount of time. It's in the works. It's out there. It's the first time I'm publicly admitting it. That's internally what we do with auditing and reconciliation and reimbursements, because we're committed to make sure that the sellers get the maximum that they're eligible to receive, but also make it as simple as possible. Let's put it this way. We're looking into the future, a big push into the content and education of sellers, because you guys are very savvy and sophisticated, and Margaret has adopted it very, very quickly. So that's very impressive. But we have thousands and thousands of sellers who we need to reach out to them and educate them about this tool and this opportunity, because we see that a lot of them are like shocked, like, what is this? So we're gonna have to put a lot of emphasis on that, because it's tens of millions of dollars on the line, across the board for our sellers. So we're very passionate about making sure that they know this opportunity exists, these tools exist, and then they can utilize them very, very simply and easily, and take that money that they recover and keep investing in the business and keep growing. I hope that answers it, Margaret.
Yeah, I think Margaret is having connectivity issues. Well, wait, there's two Margarets here. Wait.
Oh, I'm back down here. Yeah,
okay, there
I had to go out and come back in. It cut me off. I'm back down here. Yeah. Yes, no, Yoni, it was fantastic. I couldn't believe how quickly this, tool worked this morning. So, look, without it, I'd have been tearing my hair out. So, fantastic. So,
I'm so glad to hear
we'll have to get you back next year to tell everyone all about Getida again, I think.
She came to the back of the house, Yoni, to tell me she'd won some money from Amazon. She was really pleased.
And now she can buy you a gift. I know she has the funding,
Of course. Yeah. We're set for life now.
There we go.
Can everyone? Am I still audible, Megla?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are. There's a bit of a delay,
still
but you're
working?
good now.
Yeah. Bit of a delay. Okay. Yeah, look, Shamiska, I know you've got a lot of challenges in your business. What are you planning on trying to do to get through 2022?
So most of this, Mark, I think the only way this year is slightly better than the last one is I think people know what to expect. So I think the surprise element that everybody had when COVID hit and the prices suddenly shot up, goods were already in production, they were ready, they had already purchased it, so they could not delay the shipping, or they'd already the goods were selling at a certain price, so it was difficult to incorporate this additional cost into their selling price. So all those were challenges that people were not prepared for. I think now everybody knows what to expect, what's the price range to expect, what are the delays to expect. So everybody's planning around it. So I think that's the only silver lining that I see, that I think that whole element of just suddenly being hit by the 100%, 200% increase is now gone. Now these are the costs, this is how it's going to stay. The only thing, like I was telling, is I think expecting it to go back to pre-COVID levels as soon as Q4 is over is not going to happen. So I don't think anybody should wait for 4 months, 6 months thinking that's where we are heading. We are not. It's the industry experts everywhere say this is going to last till 2023. So if you want to get into business, you can't wait for 2 years, 3 years to do that. You just have to accept this as reality, forget about the pre-COVID prices, and see how to make your business around this new shipping reality that's here to stay for a while. Having said that about the challenges, Mark, we've been working around how to, there's nothing we can do to physically make your shipment get to you faster, but at least how to keep you better informed throughout the process, how much more information can be relayed. I always tell people that if there's a way for you to consolidate your goods, if there's a way to send bigger shipments, that's always better. Whether it's air or sea, you get a better per kg price. You're able to split your fixed costs between a larger volume. So if that's an advantage you have. I know there are challenges that Amazon doesn't let you send more than a certain amount of units, and then you need to get a 3PL involved. So of course there are all those cost things involved, but purely from a shipping perspective, if consolidation is possible, Annie does that a lot beautifully. I think she waits for all her suppliers to finish production and tries and time them to get to the port together. So I'm sure she sees that advantage in getting her goods shipped together. So that's something that sellers can consider if they are looking at sourcing from multiple suppliers. I think consolidation is something that should definitely be considered because it will help you reduce costs significantly. We are moving into a new ERP. We wanted to do live track and trace now because, like I said, relaying information real time is becoming so important for people to know exactly what to expect, where the goods are, what are the delays. So that's something that we are actively looking at doing in the first quarter of 2022. So so I think technology-wise, we are looking at a huge upgrade in the coming year. We have a new branch now in New Delhi. I think that's where maximum suppliers are. So that was something that was needed. I think we needed to be closer to the manufacturing hub in India. It's a lot of exciting things and looking forward to the new year.
Well, I'd like to say, I think, Shamiska, I don't know how you can improve on your service because when my shipments are going, I'm getting email after email. And of course, they were delayed a little bit. So I kept thinking, oh, this poor guy's had to send me another email. And I know Megla's goods were on the same ship. And it was like, we had another email overnight. We've had another email. So how are you going to improve on that? I don't know, because it's absolutely fantastic now. So, you've got something there that it'll be interesting to see what you do. Yeah. Now, CJ, what have you got in your crystal ball for Amazon sales?
Well, many of you know that we create a tremendous amount of video content, right? My team now produces anywhere from 2 to 5 new pieces of video content per day. We just built our 5th video studio. On one wall It's all like TV, so you can do remote Zooms, and the other wall is all green. And there's a long-winded way of saying we're going to be opening up our content machine to Amazon sellers. We're starting by offering it first to our clients who are kind of local in New York to sort of fill it out. Then we're going to offer it to other companies like you guys, the vendors who help Amazon sellers. But that is what we're doing in 2022. It's going to help our current clients build their brands with just kick-ass content. It's going to help people get the word out about what they're doing. And I really love doing it. So for 2022, one of the things that we're doing is opening up our content creation machine to Amazon sellers and to people and companies that help Amazon sellers like all of you folks.
Thank you. Okay, Megan, back to you.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much. So I believe Annie has to leave in a couple of minutes, so maybe we'll talk to Annie first. So Annie, first of all, what plans do you have for 2022? I think you've mentioned it, them a bit briefly previously, diversification and new brands. And then also one piece of advice that you have for sellers to thrive in 2022.
Yeah, thanks. I'm very positive about next year. I have very big goals for myself. I plan to double down and double, 100% of this year's business. So I'll be launching at least 7 new products, and then sending stocks to Canada and some to Australia as well. So it's going to be a very busy year for us. I see there's a lot of opportunity in the space, especially with our new brand. Because I'm hoping that the end goal is to exceed in early 2023. So build it out. And yeah, like I say, there's a lot aggregators in the space who are interested in brands. So I'm hoping to sell the whole package. So that's me for next year. And as for advice, I feel that speed is important in the space. Everything is delayed, but then we have to make a very quick decision. If you found a product, just go for it and just do it, and get it out to the market. Because I see that in my space, especially whether the new brand or the new brand or the established brand, there are just so many new sellers coming to the space more and more. So if it takes too long to get into the space, things will have changed. So what we have researched before might not be relevant, or our design and the costings, everything might not work. So we just have to be very decisive and get it to the market as soon as possible. And then we can tweak along the way. Just with my this new product that I have, it's a very basic, simple product, but it sells. So right now I'm going to reorder. I'm just going to tweak it and improve it and offer more variation. So just get to the market as quick as possible. Sometimes it's quite difficult because I think because of sourcing issues. Sampling might take a while, and then we could also work with sourcing agent to get it done a lot quicker. And I found that it's very helpful. So instead of sending me to Australia, we do a Zoom call, and then they verify the quality. I say, okay, go ahead. I'll just issue the purchase order and get it done quickly. This is my advice to sellers, and as I say, move as quickly as we can, and there's still lots of opportunity in the space for sure. And anyway, thanks so much for having me today, and wish you all happy Christmas, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a much better year next year for all of us, despite all the challenges.
Absolutely. Great advice, Annie, from everybody.
Thanks
Take
a lot,
action.
Annie.
That's the most important thing.
Take
action.
action. Just keep going. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we'll get there.
Speed
Awesome.
to market, number one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Annie, for joining us, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Annie.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Megla, can I ask a couple of questions now?
Yes, all yours, Kevin.
All right, because I've got questions in front of me now. Thank you. Right, Yoni, one piece of advice going into that's helpful to help sellers thrive in 2022.
Got it. So I would say that this is a very much a data-driven industry. It's all in the data. You're gonna hear a lot of rumors, a lot of tips and advice, but you try to be very, very data centric and examine the data, what's going on, all the way from your PPC campaigns and the keywords and the spending to your cost of shipping, to your cost of sourcing. It's all data, it's all numbers. So if you're very honed in on the data, your chances of success in surviving this and thriving are very, very high. If you're more about gut feeling and instinct, that might be helpful at times, but in the long run, you might make severe mistakes if the data doesn't support what you're doing, and then you might take a big hit. So, use the mathematics, use the data to your advantage, leverage on it as much as possible. If you can't do it, find solution providers or people on your team who are really good with that. And the more you calibrate on data, you're gonna be probably most likely unstoppable.
Yeah, great advice, mate. Yeah, keep mining for that data, that's for sure. So, Miska, what piece of advice would you give to people? Same question.
Like I said, Kevin, I'd say that accept the reality. This is how things are, and it's not just for you. So even if right now somebody is selling at a lower price, which you feel is impossible with the current shipping price, they're not going to be able to sustain it. It is something that just is an industry-wide reality right now. So unfortunately, prices will have to go up eventually for the end customers. It's just about how much time somebody is able to hold it for a little bit more longer at the old price than you. But I think that's just how it is. So like I said, accept the reality, just plan your business around that. Try and see if sea shipping is an option for you, if you can plan in advance, if air shipping can be avoided, if you have that kind of quantity where you can do a plus 300 kg shipment and save on the cost, because with all the increases also, it still is significantly cheaper than air freight. So planning better, trying to consolidate, not hoping magically that the prices will go down to by 100% in the next 2-3 months. So all of these things I think will just help you able to do your number crunching better. And yeah, that's about it. And let's just hope that we are able to at least arrive some kind of stability in the rates, which we are seeing now since the last 3 months, at least that every week increase that was happening has stopped since the last 2-3 months. Just this last 2 weeks have scared us a little bit. Suddenly there has been this entire situation both in India and China where containers are just not available. So if this continues for another week or so more, like somebody was mentioning earlier, China has already increased prices. India is still holding on to the last month level. So let's just hope that the situation doesn't get out of control, because if it does, and then containers are not available, and if cargo starts building up at the port again, the only resolution to this is for shipping lines is to make it expensive so that the flow of cargo slows down for a little bit and they can clear the backlogs at the port. But yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Smith. That's very detailed. Josh, what about you?
Ooh, I guess my key advice, I'd say the first one that came to mind is disagree with the planning, but planning ahead. But the second is gotta be willing to take the risk. Like as you said, you want to be looking at the data, you want to be seeing how that works. But I feel like I encounter a lot more people who are very risk averse. They're not wanting to dive head first. They're trying to treat it as just a small little side gig. Whereas Mego and you all have said, like, it's not just this small thing. You got to actually put the effort and the time into it. And so I think my key advice for 2022 is treat it like if you're trying to start something on Amazon, be willing to take that risk. You got to spend money to make money, as lots of people say. Treat it as a startup. You're trying to build it. You're trying to make it into something. So you got to be willing to count that cost of the money you're willing to put in and the money you're willing to lose. And so I say my advice is jump in and be willing to take that risk and treat it as a startup business.
Yeah, for sure. Great advice. And CJ, what about you, Matt?
Hey, I agree. I agree with a lot that was said, and I disagree with a bit. One, you got to take action. You got to take action and double down now. There's great opportunities with the delays. You can just pivot, expand your businesses, don't retract, expand your product lines, expand where you're sourcing from. I do think that if you are thinking about getting out, waiting another year, I do think it's a bubble. I don't think it's a bubble that's going to burst. In fact, on the deals that I'm working on right now, when I get retained for the last few weeks, I'm putting right in my contract, I'm going to try and close now. You want to renegotiate minor terms, the bubble may burst and you could be left holding the bag. So if you're going to sell now, get the deal closed. If you're not, take massive action and double down, believe in yourself, develop your brand. And I think the future is as bright as ever, just different challenges, bright as ever. And Kevin and I, the only two people I think in this room who realized that Amazon didn't even exist before 1996 as far as sellers were concerned. Right? It's new opportunities. It's not bad. It's new opportunities. So double down, take action, and I think it'll be a great, successful 2022.
And like any business, CJ, who dares wins. You've got to be prepared to take, like you say, action, but gamble as well. I mean, not stupidly, but wisely. And, like everyone sort of said, even Annie, she's, gambling with bigger orders now. And so are we, and so are other friends of ours. So in some ways, you've got to keep soldiering on, and at the end of the day, whatever's thrown at you, you've got to be prepared to take it on. And, look, even, the community is so big, there's always an answer somewhere. There's never not a thing where you're just on your own and that's it. I've got no one to turn to. There's experts in shipping, there's experts in refunding, there's expert sourcing people, and all kinds of information. And most of the time, it's free to get.
That's right. There's no shortage of energy. There's no shortage of ideas. Yoni came out with a brand new tool that he just announced tonight.
Yep.
Megla created an entire way of sourcing products away from China, get people into India. So there's no shortage of opportunity, and none of us have a shortage of energy or will. So yeah, take action, double down, build your brand. Listen, I'm sorry, Megla, have the balls to double down and succeed in 2022.
Great advice. I think 2022 is full of opportunities. You just got to look in the right places. You got to have the right mindset as well, and you've got to take action. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us over here. And it was really a nice Christmas party. Thanks a lot for wearing your Christmas hats and giving the holiday vibe, everyone. And wish you very happy holidays and the best of luck in 2022.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Bye. And thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us. We will see you next year for another live. This is our last live session for 2021.